Good morning, Nigeria, and I make you welcome. This is Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. My name is Henry Igwebike. Let's kickstart today with all we have coming from our newspapers, and possibly from there we would move on to our main conversation for today. But please do well, be part of what we do, have a say in what we say. You can find us when you reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am very so honored to have with me right here in our studios two distinguished personalities. One is Barrister Wale Ogunwade, human rights activist, constitutional lawyer, president of Voters Awareness Initiative. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for being here.
Thank you.
Truly do appreciate you. And also joining me equally is Innocent Adoluba, development communicator, journalist, public affairs analyst. Thank you so very much, Innocent.
It's always my pleasure.
Awesome. So let's kickstart today with all that we have from our newspapers. But first on our desk is the Daily Trust newspaper for today. Big story: Sanusi to federal government, borrowing after subsidy removal. Very wrong. And we equally have on the downstream of the same newspaper, $1 billion debt. Banks take over Nest Oil. Wow. That's a big one for the young man there. And equally have below that particular story, 8 years after threatening to tear green card, U.S. revokes Wole Soyinka's visa. Port Harcourt refinery shut down, how Nigeria lost 366.2 billion naira in months. I'd love to start with you, Barrister. You were here the last time we were talking about Wole Soyinka and how that he was summoned by the U.S. consulate in Lagos. Of course, you did say at that point that it wouldn't even be missing words if Nigerians would go on a protest for that. And now we have it that he has been asked not to enter the United States again.
The news came,
yes,
and of course we expected it, and of course we are studying the situation. We'll be having a meeting, that's those of us in the civil society organization, to really, excuse me, to really analyze it and now know the step we are going to take, because to us it's a slap in the face of Wole Soyinka. We revere him, and no doubt America is a sovereign state. They have a right to do whatever they want to do, deny or allow, but be that as it may, just see it, the way and manner it was communicated. There are several angles to which we want to look at the issue so as to know how to address it. But again, I don't want to, because we're in a public space, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. All I can say is that we are studying it, and we'll have a meeting very soon in that regard to know what step to take further. But generally, don't let me say much.
All right, because I had so many other questions, but because of what you have said now, I would love to direct that same question to Innocent Adoluba. Every action has consequences that come with it. Wole Soyinka, in the last couple of years, have said that if Donald J. Trump becomes the president of America, that he would deny his green card. And of course, just before he knew what was happening, the United States revoked his visa and entry into the United States of America. The question is, why do you think the Nobel laureate would not be happy with the administrative symbolism of President J. Trump, but he is okay with that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Don't you think there's it's an irony there?
Well, the comparison is, some people call it apples and oranges. President Tinubu is a compatriot of President Wole Soyinka. He's a kinsfolk, if we come down home, Yoruba-wise, Afenifere. So over the years, we cannot tell the exactitudes of the relationships and dealings of how Soyinka have had with President Tinubu.
But should that be based on, because I am speaking with regards to leadership quality.
I'm coming.
Yes.
And then we cannot tell, the lenses of perception vary. There are people anti-APC, anti-Tinubu who have their views and opinion. If Soyinka is a pro-APC, pro-Tinubu, he has his opinion about him. And take it or leave it, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a man that divides opinion. He's a man many people hate to love. He's a man many people love to hate. And now, we put it pas a pas with President Trump. I think I don't think there are meetings or civil society groups, barring the great Barrister Aguade from commenting on the Trump side. He will. But I think that President Trump is the most loathed and maligned global personality leading to an election. If you saw the build-up in this second time versus Biden, perhaps in that barrage of opinion, the Nobel laureate stated his own position. It may not be out of personal or direct malice, as it were. But whereas the American government couldn't, let me use the word, bar or shut down a vocal opposition media like the CNN, they could with an individual like Professor Shoyinka. Perhaps that may be what is playing out. The barrister I am aligned with in America is one of the most powerful global sovereign democracies. So sometimes I even see them sometimes, if you ask me, dwarfing the United Nations in certain international policies. If we look at what's playing out in the Ukraine, in Libya, in Israel, Gaza, and lately with Venezuela in the Maduro episode. So the US is almost an unopposed state actor in global politics. So, like he said, I think there are subtleties, there are ingredients that you don't label as your first step. So, Professor Shoyinka is a global citizen, he's a global darling, he's an intellectual property that the world benefits from. Maybe in the back of this, there could be a rethink, a relook, but I don't think this kind of it's a hammer that just halts everything as it were. I don't know about it.
Well, let's see how it works, though. It's a developing story. Professor Wole Soyinka had addressed a team of people while he was, of course, not being so comfortable about what was meted out on him, and which, of course, is not an awesome one for Nigeria, equally not for him. But, of course, every action comes with consequences, most definitely. But let's take a look at the Sanusi to federal government. Borrowing after subsidy removal. Wrong. Barrister, I'd love you to speak on this. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu met a debt of 77 trillion. In less than 3 years, Barrister, our president has taken it to $154 trillion. Imagine how it would be if he takes care of Nigeria in 8 years. Do you think this excessive borrowing is good for Nigeria, especially coming from a CBN governor who understands economy and the finance?
My problem is about the figures that are churned out.
Yes.
Not only are they mind-boggling, but they can send one crazy. Because you talk about the billions of trillions of money, and they are not on ground in this country, that people can't feel it, but rather you see it in the side of government, and then definitely there is something wrong. And this is the time the people will begin to ask questions. You know, we've said it in our own group, that we should stop agonizing and we'll begin to organize ourselves in how to ensure that those who hold us by the gulag are made accountable. You have taken this amount of money. Where is this money? It's as simple as that, because you can't see it on ground, and it makes one see as if one is a fool. For God's sake, some of us have a little bit of knowledge about arithmetic. We need not to be accountants. We need not to be statisticians. But all the same, you know that that huge amount of money coming into a system, definitely there must, capital M, U, S, and T, changes in the general pattern of the life of people. Not a situation where there is nothing to show. People are going hungry, people are going despondent, and on a daily basis, people are having health issues and challenges because of the economy. I was driving out this morning and I showed my wife that, look at this young man. A young man has stroke.
was walking the way you see he has stroke. He's walking with not strong enough because unfortunately we didn't wait to ask him what is it. But you see, it's simple. He wasn't born with a stroke and he wasn't born a cripple. So definitely his health situation has gone down. You go to the pharmacy now, you want to buy some drugs, the prices of drugs have skyrocketed. And I don't know, maybe you saw the news. A young man was arrested in Ribadu 2 days ago or 3 days ago, stealing cars or trying to steal a car. And when he was asked, he said he wants to use the money to get himself some drugs to stay alive. And it has gotten bad more than that, if there's anything like that. People now still, because there is no hope, there is no opportunity. One will expect that of the amount that government has said that it has borrowed, a chunk of it will be used as a social net to help people, particularly the poor and the vulnerable. These are not done. And that is where people, particularly you, the journalists, and other civil society organizations must come in and ensure that the poor and the vulnerable have a life. What's the name of that guy that the policeman put his neck and killed him in America?
Yes.
Something George
Floyd.
Floyd.
Yes.
Before he died, he was shouting, I want to what? Breathe. Nigerians too want to breathe. This economy is stifling. And I hope that government will listen. The economic managers of this country, Tinubu and his economic team, should have the fear of God. It is the fear of God that can make things work. Every day I look at them. What is it? What do they want to make? Is it more than this eba and this amala and this akpu that we eat? Because all these drinks that they buy for one bottle for $1 million is killing. The only thing at that age of theirs, after 60, is to take water. Anything apart from that, they are killing themselves. Taking some big and huge tobacco is killing. So at the end of the day, what is it that you have done? What will you be remembered for? I'll rest my case on that.
Very so unfortunate, barrister, as lucid as he has put it. Unfortunately, on the other side of the divide, the president and his team are not seeing it that way. Daniel Bwala was on radio the other time and was speaking to the fact that the best thing is happening with this administration. Bayo Ononuga equally saying the same thing. Reno Omokri, who is not placed in one way or another in the as part of the system, equally is eulogizing the president and saying he is doing an awesome job. How then do you think the president will realize some of these very so important things as made forward by Barrister?
Well, Barrister used a single sweeper. The fear of God. If you have the fear of God, you will recognize sycophants around you. So, sadly, one of the retrogressive strategies of the present government led by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is the engagement of people shouting that they are working. And globally we hear talk is cheap. So it's one thing to shout that you are working. But after we heard that, the masses, these Nigerian masses are lovely and patient. I don't think they are demanding much. They just want the government to convince them with tangible pragmatics. Just, you are working, let's see it. And believe me, nobody expects the government to do magic. The masses want the government to be seen to be treating some of these inadequacies. You just be treating it. When your tenure expired 4 or 8 years, you go, you are seen, irrespective of the reprisals against President Buhari, God rest his soul. Nigerians can see, he may not have done perfect, can see the railway he did, can see his bridge to the southeast.
The second Niger bridge.
Yes, you can just see something. We don't want to be told things that are not tangible. If the global Forbes list comes out and they tell you the richest man from Africa is Dangote, this government will celebrate it. that has no impact directly with the economic life of the masses
or his community.
Yes, so the president, I believe, is on the threshold of history. Luck beckons on him to make a name, like Barrister said, and be remembered for something. So borrowing is a good thing. Like, sadly, I'll mention a name. In the campaign for election, the presidential candidate for Labour Party will tell you, Peter Obi, that borrowing will be borrowing for production, not consumption. Those may be the worries of a finance-minded man like His Royal Highness, if I can call him that, Lamido Sanusi. Because in his days as a CBN governor, there was a semblance of sanity and stability.
Yes, very well said. Very so well said. But let's take a look at the matter, because every time you look at the pages of our newspapers, it's a doom and gloom all over the place. But Harcourt Refinery shut down. How Nigeria lost 366.2 billion naira in months. Barrister, you imagine what that humongous amount of money would have done to Nigeria, but we just fizzle that away into the pockets of a very, very few.
Well, unfortunately, the petroleum industry is a cash cow and a cesspit of corruption in this country. And there is nothing that the government will want to do, because they are the beneficiaries of this problem or this malice. The NNPC, ever since I've been a kid, has been, or ever since it has been created, has been like that. It has been the pipeline or drain pipe through which funds have been rolled out as political party patronage or for friendship purposes. And my problem, the second leg of my argument initially, is that you see government officers and officials, both political, both civil servants, both executive or judicial, enjoying the trappings of government, or we call them the deliverables of government. My own simple prayer this morning, and I hope they are watching, and I hope this thing can be shared to all those who are in government, is that they should please, in consonance with that my first statement, that we want to breathe. Look at the humongous amount they vote for themselves as allowances. Not to talk of salary. Can't they, with the fear of God, do something in ensuring that the Nigerian worker has something to breathe with? In the labor union and in the civil society, we call it the take-home pay. But the take-home pay does not take them home. How much is 30,000? In some cases, 50,000 naira, maybe 100,000 naira, at most 200,000 naira. How much with someone who has 2 kids to feed them? And of course, we all know these are children, those who are still in the father business, our mother business. Biscuits, the normal snacks. And don't forget, like today now they are on holidays. You can be sure that the mommies and the daddies, when they get back home, it is one big shout and cry. The gari and the rice is done for, because they will be, as I'm talking to you now, mommy and daddy are not home. So the ones who are a little bit older amongst them, they've taken over the kitchen, ensuring, and of course, they have already looked at it that, it is this cup full that we'll use when we come back at home. When they come back, the cup full is no more there. In fact, the whole thing has been exhausted. Where do they go? So the Nigerian system, those running the government of this country, should, for God's sake, ensure that our people breathe. And of course, it happens in other climes that the system will, either they do a bailout or they do a social net to help those in business and even family and society, so that the equilibrium will balance. Not a situation where everybody is in Oyo State, as it were, you are on your own. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. And all of us are all striving to work for the betterment of this country. My brother said it some few seconds ago. We are not asking for too much. All we want is something for us to just be moving, just for us to eke a living, and to see that, yes, just as the Bible says again, give us this day our daily bread.
Actually, so sad, you know, and I'm in the media, and I think we are equally very guilty to some of these things, because I remember when the Port Harcourt refinery, when it was said it was running, lots of legacy media organizations went there. I don't know what they reported, but what we saw was that, and what the camera actually, you know, gave us was that it was working.
Turn around.
So the question is, what then did they see?
Turn around.
Innocent, you're a journalist.
Turn around.
What exactly did the camera capture? Because it captured that the Port Harcourt refinery was working A and OK.
Sorry,
what
my
then
brother.
Is the problem, please, sir?
I'm sorry, sir.
Yeah, please do.
Please, more than 20 years ago,
yes,
I guess 25 years ago or so, there was a person who was called David West. Yes. So now, you know, the journalists now, whenever they will just see the refinery, till tomorrow, that is still on, but the refinery is tammed.
Thank you. That's a punchy one. How much did the Port Harcourt refinery reportedly lost now?
366 billion.
Okay, beyond that headline.
Is it Naira?
Yes, Naira.
Did it tell us that the management are still in place?
Well, some of them should still be there, because they won't allow it to rot away. So some people are still being paid every month. The Melekian, of course, is off. We still have a new guy who is.
That's where I'm going. That for administering this
yes,
law,
of course, definitely.
People still get paid.
Yes.
To oversee, to superintend over losses of this magnitude, people still get paid. That's what I want to know. Or they've been changed, they are being tried or questioned, and the new set are, you know.
Well, my problem is that the national, what's it now, the refinery business and the oil business in Nigeria is seen as a national cake.
Oh, okay.
And everybody comes with his own knife, cut what you can cut, take it away, and nobody questions who has been prosecuted.
Anyway, where I'm going with this is this.
Yes.
In the US, I think it's President Ronald Reagan who negotiated a tax cut for the masses. Because at the time, the economy was scorching.
Yes.
And the masses cannot pay. So he, as a president, negotiated tax cut. Today in Nigeria, today 29th October 2025, yes, Nigerians are paying their highest tax within this seething economy that we are in. And like he said, in my popular comment, the government, the political elites and their cronies are enjoying life on islands of opulence, surrounded by the masses in oceans of poverty. And to that extent, this money is, like he said, being national, is it being probed? We were in this country where we were told that massive vessel went to steal fuel. Not a butterfly, not a needle, a gigantic, a behemoth of a ship went to load and steal oil. Well manned and guarded by the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian Navy, Customs, Civil Defense. All these platoons of people didn't see that giant behemoth vessel until today. Fly away, Peter. Fly up. So this kind of news, take it from me. This is my brave comment. If INEC and the security can oversee a transparent vote count, this kind of news can make this incumbent government to lose an election.
Secondly, I thought you would go there. Stealing crude oil is not something that happened in the backyard. Before you come into the Nigerian territorial waters, you must be cleared
by
by the security, by the coast, by the what is it now? The Navy, the Nigerian Navy.
Who didn't see the vessel?
No. Now I'll come back to your statement now that it was a fly or one small needle that came in. Then before, even if eventually they escaped the scrutiny, then how they get? It's not that you can't just put. You can't just steal fuel. Fuel is not on water now. It's not a scoop. It is in a point.
It's a conduit.
It's a conduit in a particular place, manned by security people.
Massive tank farms.
So those people then came there. Nobody saw them, or they gave them kind or supply water. What do they call it in that area? It's in a supply water. Definitely. They gave them supply water, or they came with someone like me who is a pastor who baptized them with Holy Ghost fire. So they all went to sleep, or they were in a trance. Then they scooped the fuel. Even I'm sure they can. If you go to, if you say a 2-year-old kid and you say they came and stole crude oil in Nigeria, he will say, "Daddy." What's the meaning of that?
Because according to research, that vessel was there for close to about 3 weeks or a month.
It's not something it's not something you take, just come in, drive in and rush out.
And no, I'm sorry to use that word. No ordinary Nigerian like us here can dare to go and steal it.
As my people go say, they are them born us well.
So it's a high profile. So that's my take. That kind of amount. From sadly, sorry to prolong, Nigeria has peers globally in OPEC, Yemen, Oman, Kuwait, Saudi, whose same fuel and resources is the source of their wealth. How come ours is our license for doom? You know, like I was discussing with Harry off stage. Some weeks back, I was at the Lekki Free, what's it called now? LFZ, Lekki Free Zone.
Yes.
At the refinery itself, there was the report that Dangote had crashed the price of gas.
That's LPG.
Yes. There was riot. People didn't want Dangote, the owner of his gas, to lower the price.
Yes.
I don't know how to comprehend it. Are they happy that we are buying it costly? You know, so there are lots of baggages that goes with unaccountability, and those are all dialectic to the trumpeting of the government that we are doing well. So that's where people can, and I'm saying it that if we live where there are transparent vote count and no intimidation during election, the more this kind of news comes out, the more this government qualifies to lose the next election.
Very so true. Let's see how that goes. Of course, on our main conversation, we'll talk about electioneering and all that. But be that as it may, unfortunately, we have a substantive minister of petroleum who doubles as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Mallam, and he is actually not saying anything. And this brings to the question if really the president must allow himself necessarily become the minister of petroleum resources just because he wants to cut cost, and yet Nigerians can't even see the dividends of that.
Every ministry is a portfolio. Every portfolio is run by budget and personnel. So maybe if President Buhari, let's now, you know, President Buhari, I don't now know that innovation lacks global applicability. Definitely. So I don't know if we should call it innovation. But if President Buhari became the first president petroleum minister and is bequeathed on President Tinubu, are there places, are there briefings, are there reports, or once you become president and a petroleum minister, whatever happens, you know, because where there are measures, reports, what was it called, monthly or weekly, or the way we in organization have NPR, you can see pros and cons. You can measure month on month and then measure year on year.
And who is not performing would have to face the music. Well, when the president is the substantive minister of petroleum resources,
not necessarily even facing music.
Yes.
Where you see holes, you can plug holes.
Yes.
But for now, do we get that where a president is like, I mean, royal absolutism?
The problem in this issue is a very bad precedent set by Obasanjo himself and carried over by some of these presidents. But be that as it may, it still boils down to the people putting whoever is responsible and holds that office to account. It does not matter who is the president, because in this position now, he is acting as a minister. Yeah. And the minister too, they have ministerial briefing. So if the minister for, no, not state, now if the minister for industry or minister of industry, minister of education and so on, they are having their ministerial briefing, then definitely he too, who occupies that office, must go there
and give his own report.
And give his own report, and of course use that. Because to me, it is just the element of perfidy and audacity and impunity that there is no report and everything is just going disorderly. And we must call a spade a spade. We can't continue like this. There must be a way in which we manage ourselves that people who see will say, yes, the right thing has been done. In the absence of that, then definitely we are just deceiving ourselves.
Very so sad. Just to let you know that both gentlemen will be here to take me on my main conversation. That's when we return. INEC vows a seamless Anambra election despite the network hitch. That in the beat is still Enterprise Morning. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back.